This show is rated PG-13, so you might hear a naughty word or two. Welcome to our Paris Olympic lessons learned, recap, what happens from here, and insane things that are still going on / updates of all the things these poor athletes have to suffer. It is August 27th, and welcome to the number one gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica, and I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. And let's start with... Just kidding. Before we get to that, quick breaking news. USA Gymnastics no longer has a senior national team training center in Texas. They formerly trained at STARS in Katy, Texas. That facility will no longer be used for seniors. Juniors will have camps at a second STARS location. I did reach out to USA Gymnastics to ask for comment, but they were not able to meet our deadline. So we will keep following this story and let you know. In the past, when this happened, when the Caroli Ranch was shut down as a national team training center, USA Gymnastics trained at a gym in Indianapolis, and then they also trained at LSU. I hope they go back to another college location because those are always the best facilities. But the one they used in Indy did have a kitchen, and that was good. But anyway, I'll keep you updated on where the current Olympic gold medal winning national team camps will be in the future. Okay. The FIG's president's report that came out yesterday, and we finally got a statement on the bronze clusterfugle, essentially, from President Watanabe, president of the FIG.
Yeah. We promised we'll do this and then actually talk about other things from the Olympics as well. But there's a little bit of news and then we'll get it out of the way with this and this bronze medal that we're all sick of talking about, but are going to talk about for 90 more years. So in this newsletter, Watanabe said, I'll read his statement and then we'll talk about it. Because I actually think I have a different take on it than a lot of other people. But he said, finally, I would like to address the tragedy that occurred in the women's floor exercise final. This tragedy must never happen again. Since I became FIG president, I have been promoting the use of technology in judging. Unfortunately, this tragedy happened. The use of technology in sport is now taken for granted, and the FIG used to be at the forefront of introducing technology in all international federations. Side note, when was that? But now we are no longer a pioneer. This is because we are not able to break our own prejudices because of our traditions. We need change, we need challenges, and we need the courage to move forward. It was the lack of courage to take that step forward that led to the tragedy in Paris. What can we do to prevent the same tragedy from happening again? It is up to us to have the courage to change.
Five times he used the word tragedy.
Yeah, and so let's get Watanabe a translator, because this is not what a tragedy is. There are actual tragedies in the world. Not winning a bronze medal at the Olympics in a floor final is not a tragedy.
That's true, but I do love that he used it 5 times.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's a general take of you didn't say anything about the athletes and what they're going through, and there was a disappointment in that, and led to a belief that this was a nothing statement. And to me, it's not a nothing statement. It's an extremely significant and telling statement from Watanabe that this is what he said. My translation of it being, y'all had your shot to be humans and you blew it royally and embarrassed me in front of the whole world and the IOC. And I'm pissed about it. So now we're doing Fujitsu all the way. Now you can pack your knives and go. Or at least that's what he'll push for. Even if you're the president of an organization, it doesn't mean everything you want happens. But I read this as you guys blew. I wanted Fujitsu this whole time, and I've had pushback, and now you guys blew it, so I can use this as an opportunity to do full Fujitsu all the time, everywhere.
And this is what I was saying, how one of the first episodes when we came back, I said, we used to hear about Fujitsu all the time, and there was big press conferences, and then there was always a thing. Every World Championships, Fujitsu's here. There was a whole Fujitsu desk, and you could go and ask all the questions that you had, and it was such a big deal that they pushed for this. And then it just that push sort of disappeared, and what we had heard was that the judges were very upset about being replaced. And there was a worry that judges wouldn't have, it's a prestige to have judges at these events. It's a whole thing. It's a political thing. And then you have someone in the mix that can ask direct questions and all of that stuff. And so we heard this is kind of why it went away, even though it can do, and we can show this screen from the Fujitsu press release, it can do real-time D and E scores. It can script the routine. In other words, like put in the actual skills, like in shorthand, like the judges do, and do execution and difficulty. It uses lasers to do a 3D image motion capture of the gymnast skills, and it knows all of the skills now, and it has had how many routines? Let's see. It's been around. They've been developing it since 2017. It's been used since 2019 in World Championships. So they have,
or at least present. I mean, used.
Well, it was officially only used when there was an inquiry that went to the superior jury. Then they would use it in a score. But it has been collecting data on, I don't know, how many routines is that? 10,000 routines at this point? I don't know. Some engineer send us in someone good at math, all the routines that are done at a World Championships. It's done that since 2019, plus all the other research they've done, just visiting gyms and capturing data. So something happened, and I feel like it was him getting pushback on this from the judges. But I agree with you exactly. He has used the word tragedy 5 times, which to me is huge. Basically, he's saying this is the equivalent of me having to be sent home from the Olympic team for being an underage Japanese girl smoking, which happened on the Japanese Olympic team, and we're still not over it, to their team captain. And this is totally an embarrassment. The way he's taking a hit is going to be like, you lost. It's robot judges from now on. And the way that I think that they should do this is it should be number one, the robot judges, and there should be backup, the same number of judges that there are now, the E&D and all of that stuff. But the humans are the backup. If they're out of range with the robot, then, and especially in line and D and out of bounds and all of that stuff, they're going to be the backup, not one elected official, which is the way it is now, who's not necessarily even a category 1 judge, which is the very best judges, who test into that position, which we've covered before. This is like Donatella Sacchi, is the women's technical committee head, category 1 judge. We don't know if it's because she tested into category 1 or if it's just because she is an elected official. So yeah, I agree with you. You had your chance.
Yeah, it was like you've been pushing back on what I want and you blew it, and now it's my way. I think that, the frustration that there was no acknowledgement of what the athletes are going through is also legitimate. I think, there should have been some additional statement about acknowledge a more explicit acknowledgement that they screwed up, which you're never going to get from the FIG, but this is as close as you're ever going to get to we screwed up from the FIG, which is you other people screwed up and I don't like it, so you're robots now. I also think if you're Team Jordan, you don't want the FIG to say any more about this, because the other subtext I get from this, focusing specifically on the technological errors in the floor final, and that being the problem, is that the subtext is that the FIG thinks that Jordan is the incorrect bronze medalist as the result of technological error, and that's what needs to be fixed. Like, they don't view Jordan Childs as a victim of this situation. They view her as an incorrect bronze medalist that they had to resolve. So if you are like advocating for Jordan Childs, I think you're like, okay, FIG, don't say anymore. We're going to go to the Swiss Federal Tribunal. We're just going to deal with that. And FIG, shut up now.
Yep. And this is part of, this is all part of the legal part of this, is like, this is why USA Gymnastics under the old regimes didn't apologize. An apology is an admission of guilt. And therefore you are then open yourself up to being guilty. It was USAG was guilty the whole time. So, but anyway, I think we are also having a different reaction than I think the general public, because we know that for Watanabe to say this is a huge deal, and our expectation is this is an admission of guilt that the FIG
as close
messed
as
up.
You're gonna get, yeah,
right, and it's a huge deal that he made this statement, because we don't normally get statements like this. The FIG never makes statements like this. They don't admit that they've ever made a mistake. Like, this is essentially an admission, even though
you only get a statement of like, actually, we were right. Like, remember at Hashimoto's vault, where they gave a whole rundown of like, actually, this is why it wasn't, we were right. If they're like, we were right, they're giving you a statement right away, especially about men's. But if they're like, oh, we definitely screwed up, you're getting nothing.
So this was in Japan in the Tokyo Olympics. There was a whole thing about Hashimoto Daiki's score being wrong, and there was a whole outrage from the Chinese gymnastics community, and the FIG did something really unprecedented, which is they validated in a million different ways that the score was correct, which we've never had before. That was the first time, and it was a home Olympics, and I was like, oh, why, if you're going to do this for one gymnast, do it for everybody else. But I want to go back to the things that Watanabe said in 2017 when this first launched. And Watanabe had super lofty goals. And he said, quote, if this system is perfective, inaccurate scores will become a thing of the past. And a longstanding dream of the sports world will become true. I mean, you could just do that with every other judged sport, also called sports with referees, and have instant replay, which is what the superior jury is supposed to do after an inquiry, but it should just be able, the judges be able to do it, put a buzzer up like I want, or a flag.
Because having instant replay has solved all the problems.
All the problems.
No issues with the people evaluating the instant replay.
Although I have to say, we go back to the NBA, they have proven there is a way. Yes, it is the most consistent judging in all sports is the NBA. They have proven it over and over and over, but they also have a bazillion judges and a bazillion cameras monitoring what the referees do at all times. So another thing that Watanabe said last year in the press release about, this is called the JSS system, the Fujitsu robot judging. It's officially the JSS, which is the judges support system. But now it's going to be judges, you support the Fujitsu system.
We don't know that.
He said, "Oh, that's what
our interpretation of what he's saying."
Quote: to further improve the integrity of the sport by resolving challenges in judging and ensuring fairness and transparency in evaluating performances," which is the thing we've been talking about forever, which is totally missing in judging right now. Figure skating, you have the skills scripted in real time, and no one has that in gymnastics. There's no reason not to have that. So I am really hoping that this is going to be the change that we're waiting for. It's going to actually happen. I don't think there's any reason not to, but I do think that it's going to have several caveats. Let me tell you how to implement it, FIG.
Okay.
The security is going to be a huge issue. That's why you need human backup judges to do this. So all the judges should keep their spots and keep their jobs. I mean, you have to basically be independently wealthy to be a brevet judge, because you have to be able to leave your job for months at a time and travel around the world. But the caveat is I feel like this has to be a closed, almost air-gapped system. This can't be an online system. They're going to have to run wires to make it secure, like old-time telephones. Oh, not that telephones can be tapped, but this is more secure than online. There were so many cyber attacks during the Olympics, and this is really the biggest thing. Remember when Amy Borman, her computer got broken into and destroyed in Nanning? Remember that? She left her hotel room when they were at the Nanning World Championships, and she went back to her hotel room and she opened up her computer and it was like, wah, wah. So she had that happen, USA Gymnastics head coach. And then we had the Fancy Bears hacking and putting out Simone's WADA testing results. Mm-hmm. And then in Paris, there were more than 140 cyber attacks on the Paris Olympics. So it's a huge deal. And this was a huge deal for anybody that worked within the system. So I feel like it almost needs to be air gapped with a system that is unhackable. And then, because honestly, the other thing is the volunteers at the Olympics, the volunteer system is a complete joke. I can't even believe the people that they have in their volunteering at every level. It's an absolute joke. There are great volunteers who do an amazing job. And then there are people who respect nothing and get away with whatever they want. And no one takes them out of their positions on multiple levels. So it's a big problem. So it worries me about the security. So that's the thing that I want in place. But I just want to reiterate, this is horrible for the athletes. This is so messed up for the athletes. And I feel like if you use the word tragedy 5 times, you are acknowledging how messed up it is for the athletes. But that's me interpreting what he has said. We have absolutely failed at our jobs. We had one job: make this fair, host parties and make this fair. And we
but
did
host parties was first.
Host parties is number one. That's what the mean is, a big
obviously,
gymnastics
host
party.
parties is one.
Yes. But the thing is that what we've heard over and over is that the executive committee, which is like the top level people that have been there forever, the president and the vice presidents,
Mhm.
whatever, don't have control over the technical committees, who are the ones that have to like approve this. So I don't know if Watanabe can just be like,
"You're all robots now." Yeah,
that's it. You lost your chance. And yeah, so
why these political positions? Soft pressure. It's
right.
all about your soft power.
That's how it works. Mean looks. In other news,
If gymnastics knows anything, it's mean looks.
it is basically the basis for the sport. They also need to bring back the landline telephones. I'm just saying, this is the other way
That solves everything.
to
Yeah.
do it.
Jessica wants an avocado landline phone, and then it's fine.
Yes. Okay, the other thing that's happened this week related to ongoing Paris Olympic nightmare for these 3 athletes who are in bronze limbo, kind of still. Romania have now sent their own appeal to the Swiss tribunal, which is the way that you appeal Court of Arbitration of Sport decisions, and you can't. It's not their decisions that you appeal; it's their procedures. Just like what Romania originally put in for Ana Barbosu, who currently has the bronze medal, is the bronze medal winner. It was that the FIG didn't follow their own rules, not field of play judging decisions. Romania's case on behalf of Voinea was thrown out because that was an out of bounds, even though she clearly didn't go out of bounds, that was a field of play decision. So now they are appealing to the Swiss tribunal, even though her case was thrown out at CAS. And so I'm like, how are they going to appeal?
I don't know what the basis of that appeal is, other than like, obviously they were wrong, but there's no avenue to do anything.
Yeah, there's no avenue for this. This is the problem. Like, yeah, clearly Voinea didn't go out of bounds, and she should have been in the bronze medal spot. And yeah, among many other problems that we've talked, we have a whole episode about this, the bronze, definitive guide at the bronze. But yeah, this is just a horrible ongoing, like, slam all these athletes head into the wall, like, nightmare. That's what I feel is being done to them. I don't want that. I feel like they are just continuously being jerked around. And I also feel like this is just a political move by Romania to just keep this in the news, which good for them. That they should keep it in the news. It was a huge mess, and it ruined the end of the Olympics. But let us continue with other news.
The rest of the Olympics, the non-floor bronze related Olympic things that Jessica would like to talk about.
Before we
it's not a Jessica event unless there's a life lesson or 7 that you can talk about.
Right. That's why this whole episode is lessons learned. And the first lesson we learned is use the fucking robots. That's what you need to know. But before we get to that, I just want you guys to know that this show is brought to you by our Club Gym Nerd members who support us all year long, all quad long, so that we can do this work. And we are coming up on our 12-year anniversary, September something, 12th, I think, or 15th is our 12-year anniversary. Speaking of anniversaries, it's Fact Checker's birthday today. Happy birthday, Fact Checker.
Okay, so wait, I have to make fun of you now because you changed the schedules for us to record today, and it was Fact Checker's birthday.
I know.
That's your present you gave him as work?
But his whole schedule is screwed up anyway. We're not even planning on celebrating his birthday because he has another thing that he has to get done for a publisher, and so his birthday was rescheduled for the weekend. But thanks for making me feel bad. I got him a chocolate croissant this morning. Okay,
nice.
Thank you. So anyway, we have things coming up for you guys. Some exclusive things that'll be for Club Gym Nerd members. Going to the GOAT Tour, Simone's GOAT Tour. Going to see it before the first live show where they do it for an actual audience. So I'll be able to tell you guys about that. That's happening the beginning of September. We have the second half of Simone's documentary coming up. We have an interview with the director that you can listen to. Our interview with Nellie Kim, who used to be Donatella Sacchi and a Soviet Olympic champion. So that to look forward to. And of course, we have our live in-person show coming up this fall. Details coming soon. And we have a catalog of interviews, bonus episodes. You can also commission your own mini commission. Like, you want us to talk about something for 15 minutes? We can do it. Anything. You can make Spencer just talk about like gymnast hair fashion and barrettes used through the years for 10 to 15 minutes.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can do that for you guys. So thank you to all of our Club Gym Nerd members. And don't forget that our own fact checker, and Amy Borman, Simone Biles' first coach for 19 world and Olympic medals through Rio, have written a book, and it's called The Balance, and it is on pre-sale now on Amazon or the Barnes & Nobles. And you can pre-order it. It has all the stuff in there. You want to know about Marta, you want to know about the lawsuits, you want to know about what went on behind the scenes and things that people said. It's all in there. You're going to enjoy it very much. So let's talk about lessons learned. Spencer, my favorite thing. This is the after school special episode of GymCastic. Remember when they used to have those lessons learned? Don't get in quicksand and don't get in a refrigerator because it will kill you. Do you remember that? Refrigerators.
No.
Who gets inside a refrigerator? Apparently, this
I
is
feel
a
like
thing.
it was a little too after the after school special moment. I didn't really get those.
We learned important lessons in those. Some people didn't learn, which the most important lesson was always be nice, and some people didn't get that message. And so I feel like our first lesson learned is don't come for the athletes because they will bring receipts. Yeah. So let's start with double Olympic champion from the Philippines, Carlos Yulo. Carlos Yulo's mom did interviews where she spoke very poorly about her son and said very mean things about him, and it was awful. And I was like, who would do this to their kid after everything he's been through and after a great triumph? How could you treat someone like this? So he responded back to her by saying, "Hey, Mom, where's my money?" And I appreciate Carlos Yulo. If you've ever met him, how would you describe Carlos?
My brief observing the mix zone from afar is that he is like the sweetest person in the world.
He is literally like, when you talk about demure, thoughtful, this is Carlos Yulo. He is very soft-spoken. He is thoughtful with his words. He is intentional. He is kind. He is one of the athletes that always says, hello, how are you? It's nice to see you. He is just a lovely, wherever you are, he's a lovely human being, and he's been through a lot. He moved away from home. Now maybe we can understand why for years and years and years. Then he had like a breakup with his coach of forever in Japan. And then he's just, he ended up several days before Worlds with no coach. And then he went back to his original coach. It's just, he's, tumult in his personal life has been going on. And then for him to win and have this happen is horrible. And I love his clapback because I can only imagine what has happened that for him to do that. So he should always be treated correctly. And please, the entire country of the Philippines and the world needs to treat him correctly. To counteract the hurt that Carlo has endured, I just wanted to make a point of how significant this is in the United States and around the world. So I asked her for a quote from some Filipino Americans. What did they think? How did they feel about this? Jose and Tesserita Delog said, "Of course, this should make all Filipinos stand high and proud. With proper training and support, there are more medals to be won. Salamat, Carlos. You make Filipinos proud." That was feelings, Spencer. Your favorite part.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Okay. Then, in more Filipinos, fallout. Don't come for the athletes. They will bring the receipts. Lessons. Did you hear about what happened with the Filipino Federation? And
slightly, but please explain it to me.
There was supposed to be an event, and the event was the Filipino gymnasts didn't know about it, so they reached out to the Filipino president and said, "Hey, what is this like champions
the president
event
of the Philippines or the president of the federation?"
The president of the federation.
Okay.
And said, "Hey, what's this event? Are we supposed to be there?" And the Filipino Federation had responded by saying, "No, don't worry about it. It's just for the medalists." So this is the receipts that Jung-Ruivivar, I'm going to Stanford, Jung-Ruivivar posted. And then the federation head went on to TV in the Philippines and said that the gymnasts better watch out for not showing up to this event and basically embarrassing the federation by not showing up. So Levi was like, oh, no, and posted her messages with the federation president where she asked about this specifically and was told, no, you don't have to worry about it. It's just for the medalists. They didn't know about it, and they asked if they were supposed to be there specifically. So this looks very, 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 very bad for the federation head. Also, anyone that goes on TV and says anything about athletes, you better watch out, should be removed from their position. But what happened in the end of all of this is that the Filipino gymnasts were invited by the president of the Philippines, the actual president, not the gymnastics president, to have a meeting. And so they met with him and they had a whole thing, and he told them about how many kids have been signing up for gymnastics in the country, which is great. Look out for the next generation of Filipino gymnasts. So the next lesson learned.
I'm
Spencer.
ready. I'm ready.
Ready? Being iconic is forever.
Important lesson.
These are facts. So Jordan,
do you want to tell the people what you wrote on the outline?
What? Right.
You wrote being ironic is forever, which I also agree with and is also true.
Well,
I mean, I think that is an important lesson of the Olympics that Simone taught us when she walked off the floor in full salute the entire time after getting the salute deduction in the beam final.
That's
being
what
ironic is also forever, and it's extremely important.
That is. Thank you. Thank you for making my point for me.
Yeah.
Also being iconic is forever.
Yeah,
Jordan might have her bronze medal stripped away by a hastily assembled biased court, but the floor podium is forever, Spencer. That is the important thing. The floor podium is forever. This podium that was Simone Andrade winning her gold medal on floor and Jordan Childs, where the Americans bowed to Brazilian Andrade, and she put her hands up in the air, and then they all held hands, and it was women supporting women, and the first all-black podium in artistic gymnastics history. That, I feel like, will never be changed. Everyone will remember that forever. That's the thing. That is the moment. And that can never be taken away. No matter what happens with the bronze medal, schmonz medal, you'll be remembered as being amazing. Next lesson.
Yeah.
Japan's going to Japan.
Okay. Tell me what that means.
That means that if you are a woman and you're underage and you smoke a cigarette and maybe drink a little because you're
below legal smoking age.
Below legal smoking age, yeah, you're not the age of it, but you're stressed, that the team will send you home, even though the entire men's team smoked for years. I don't know if they currently do, but Kohei did. So, but back to being iconic. When Miyata was sent home because she's underage and was breaking the law by smoking and drinking, her team did her floor choreography as their intro when they walked onto the floor in the Olympic arena and were introduced. And that goes back to the lesson of being iconic is forever. And so that's important. I am looking forward for the day when Japan will learn to craft a statement that says something like, elite athletes are under immense pressure and may use the exact tactics of, say, the greatest debatably male gymnast of all time, Kohei Uchimura, to handle the stress of the spotlight and smoke a cigarette once in a while. Now, obviously, I do not endorse the cigarette smoking, but I'm just saying, how can you have this double standard?
Have you ever been? If you've ever been in public with Jessica, you know she does not endorse cigarette smoking.
I will. Even the French apologized to me for the smoking. It might have been my blowing the smoke back at them, coughing, waving furiously. Yeah, because it is still giving other people cancer. It's very rude, but the French were very nice about it. So anywho, yeah, those are the days that I'm looking forward to. I mean, was Kohei underage when he started smoking? I don't know. I don't care, but I'm looking forward to a day when this has changed. Do you think that Japan has learned the lessons of stop following your own rules and put people
No.
in? Can you explain the mistake they made and what they should have been learning here about alternates?
Well, yeah, they could have just been like, oh, she's hurt. We're going to put in an alternate.
Miata, yeah.
Like, yeah, the Miata, they could have put in Aiko Sakara, for instance, as an alternate to, have a full team at the Olympics. And also, my issues with Japanese selection procedures over the years in general is that they are very all-around based and very strict and don't allow the leeway to select perhaps the highest scoring team. So also that. But no, I don't think that's going to change.
Which leads me to, I want to skip ahead a little bit because while we're on this topic, I would like to skip to the lesson learned, which is USA Gymnastics will never use an Olympic alternate.
Not unless someone gets like an ACL injury in training 2 days before the Olympics.
Yeah, basically, it has only happened to Morgan White, right? That in like modern gymnastics since the 80s.
Yeah,
Morgan White is the only in the last, what's that, 50 years almost. Morgan White, because
50 years. Oh, since the 80s. I thought you meant since Morgan White in 2000. I was like, that was not 50 years ago.
No, Morgan White 2000, Sydney, because she broke something, which is also, it just must have been that she could not do any gymnastics, because honestly, how many athletes have competed with a broken something? Jung-Ruivivar.
All of them.
Everyone.
Every U.S. Olympian.
Yeah, has had a broken something, mostly broken backs, but a lot of fractures in legs. But yeah, I think that's the other lesson that we learned. Multiple members of the team and staff were sick. We learned afterwards, and some during, with Jade Carey's dad being out for a day of training, not being there. Jade was so sick that Chelsea Memel said, or not so sick, but so unable to didn't have enough energy is the way I would put it. Because Jade was talking about how she couldn't eat to the Olympic channel. But Chelsea said afterwards that she couldn't even warm up for vault. And the irony of that, of course, going back to being ironic, is forever. Can you talk about the rule change that happened after Tokyo?
Oh, to add a touch warm-up to event finals.
Right.
Which we now have, that they can actually go up onto the apparatus and the first four will warm up and then compete, and then the second four will warm up and compete, instead of you are in the training gym, you're in the back, you're in the warm-up hall, and then you come out and you are cold and this is a fresh apparatus on a podium and you gotta go.
And that's what happened to Jade in Tokyo, and she had a really weird trip on her run and was expected to medal on vault, and then that's why she said we're coming back here, and they did, and then she got some kind of food poisoning illness and barely had energy to do gymnastics and was not replaced by an alternate. Now, do I think that was the right decision considering all the medals?
Considering she medaled on vault.
Yeah, I think, when you're Jade Carey, you don't need a warm up, apparently, sometimes. But that is the lesson I feel like we have learned. Unless someone's something breaks off, Morgan White had a stress fracture in her foot, which is weird because that seems like something many other Olympians in the U.S. would have competed with.
I mean, if you're going to go back and adjudicate what was up with Bella and the 2000 Olympic process and training, it's 90 episodes. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Which was probably just he wanted Tasha Schweikert on the team no matter what. And so Tasha Schweikert made the team. Because I'm sure everybody
who can say. Yeah.
This is what I've decided it is. So anyway, I think that's the lesson we learned. And do I think that's fair? No. Was the right decision? If medals are all you care about.
Oh, John Tesh over here. And if medals are all that matter, then the coaches were right. Little Rosa Gallieva.
I just feel like this goes back to setting expectations. If you expect Watanabe to apologize directly to the athletes and say they're wrong, that'll never happen. If you expect him to do what he did today, then you'll be very happy and surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the expectation. If you're, a U.S. Olympic alternate, I think that unless someone gets like, you can't do gymnastics major, serious, you need surgery, injury in training, you're not getting put in.
Yeah. Which goes back to my whole, what should be the lesson learned from this? Alternate should be training with the team up until the whole time. With an Olympic credential, because that's the whole problem with the Olympics.
Okay, I'm going to throw out something. If alternates got medals, like legitimate, like Olympic medals with the team, do you think teams like the US would be more willing to throw in an alternate because you're not taking someone's like medal dream away from them as much?
Oh, I see what you're saying. It would be a bonus medal instead of a you got hurt.
Like
you're out.
you were on the team, you get the team medal with the rest of the gang, even though you didn't compete because you were on the team. I think they would be maybe more willing to bring in an alternate if it weren't like your dream is dead.
So you're kind of talking about like the situation with Alicia Sacramone and Anna Lee 2011 Worlds, where Alicia Sacramone tore her Achilles, was already home.
Yeah.
Anna trained the whole time, was on the floor the whole time, didn't end up being able to compete because she was also injured.
We're shocked.
But she got the medal on the stand, and then they took it away from her because they never officially put her on the team.
And the other thing was that they wanted Alicia to then break
the record. Yeah, Alicia
get the record.
Yeah, so on the podium there's Anna Lee is there, but then when they went back to the hotel, they came and got her Anna Lee's medal from her and then shipped it to Alicia Sacramone so Alicia Sacramone could get the medal record, which Alicia Sacramone has nothing to do with. That was all a USAG decision. That's an interesting. They used to give. There are situations where alternates got medals. Didn't we have some worlds for a while where alternates got medals too?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Olympics specifically.
The Olympics, yeah. That's an interesting idea. I think it would. I think that would. And I think they'd be less afraid of lawsuits. In the US, you're one lawsuit away from anything. So, yeah, that's an interesting idea. Possibly. Okay, next lesson learned, Spencer. Smart men have finally realized that it's a good business decision to invest in women.
Have they?
Some have.
Some.
Alexis Ohanian, Flava Flav, who was at Gymnastics constantly and is sponsoring the water polo team, the women's water polo team, when he found out they're like win all the Olympics and still have to have multiple jobs. And then Snoop. And remember, Snoop told Gina Childs, I'm going to bring everyone here. They need to see these are the real athletes. And smart business people are realizing they need to get on this train now for the 2028 Olympics because women's sports is going to take over everything. This is my prediction.
You're also
mark my words.
Too late. You needed to get on that train before.
They're making more people get on the train. Well, you'd think people were all over this train. But anyway, if Snoop and Flava Flav are on it, it's a good business decision. Okay. Protocols need to be standardized and applied.
What? Whoa.
It's almost like this is what the whole CAS case, the Court of Arbitration of Sport bronze medal space case was about. So first, let's talk about concussions. There's the Flavia situation where I'm just mentioning this, but honestly, I'm not sure Flavia really had a concussion or if she was telling a funny story to tell a funny story. But she did give an interview. She said she woke up under the bars and, kneed herself in the face and then didn't realize what was happening. And, but I'm not sure if she was just telling a great story or that actually she could not remember and woke up on the floor. But if she did, that's bad. But they did stop her. This is the difference. They stopped her from doing gymnastics, sent her down to see the doctor, and then she came back up to compete. So I'm hoping they actually did a concussion protocol But when the entire French team and gymnasts from other countries were completely rattled and thrown off their game when Marine Boyer suffered a allegedly very serious head injury with, from my sources tell me, antegrade amnesia, which is very, very scary, which is you can't remember things after you hit your head. So you can't remember, like, you hit your head, you then are like, what's happening today? What am I doing? That's very, very, very scary, very dangerous kind of concussion. These are the allegations from reports that I got and from my sources. But then Quest France reported that no concussion protocols were followed by the French Federation. And that's very, very scary. And it was bad enough that several athletes mentioned that they were glad to get out of the sport healthy just after that session was over. Didn't mention Boyer specifically. But then when I found out and saw Boyer being assessed, her head and neck being assessed after the competition, I think the part of the problem is the world doesn't agree on concussion protocol. And then the other problem is that there are many people who care more about reputation, ego, and medaling and performing in front of a country, general narcissism, over the athlete's health and their brain health and the rest of their lives once they stop doing gymnastics. And those people should be removed from sports completely. And this is, as I said before, the second time this has happened, that where we've been there and witnessed something like this happening. Like 2021 Worlds, there was a similar situation with no concussion protocol being done with an athlete. So it's very scary, and I don't know what the FIG can do about this.
Yeah, I mean, the FIG can have their own medical staff that supersedes national medical staff.
It could. Are people going to say that medical staff is
Yes, they are
biased and blah, blah, blah? But yeah, I mean, a federation should have you should have to submit a concussion protocol. But then, so concussion protocol needs 15 minutes. If someone needs concussion protocol, are you going to let them go again if they're cleared after 15 minutes? Can they work into someone else's rotation? That's going to mess up all the timing. I am giving you my devil's advocate.
Yeah, no,
And I'm just making it clear to the audience that, someone who's smoking a pipe and only cares about medals and
smoking a pipe.
Yeah, smoking a pipe is how you know someone's evil.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Not a pipe. It's cigars? Are those evil? I don't know.
I mean, I think cigars smell evil, so I'm fine with that.
Smoking anything. It's vaping. That's the worst, you vapors. You know it's true. These are my concerns. So I think we have to have people in place that care more about the human being's health than all of those things, and work it into the protocol. And if you had an alternate there who can compete when this happens on the floor, ready to go, who's credentialed, that would be less likely, and you'd have more time for someone to go through the protocol. So alternates fix everything.
At least credentialing alternates is a must.
Yes.
For the future of the Olympics in gymnastics.
Yeah. For the safety of everyone. God, we fixed so many things here. I mean,
we're great.
Since we predict the future, I hope that we are predicting. So far, robot judges with backup human judges, that's going to happen. And then we're predicting credentials for alternates, because hopefully, I'm waiting for the time when one of these gymnasts realizes what's going on and sues the FIG and the federation, which has happened. The FIG has been sued in the past, but it's never come to anything. This is the problem. So, and in this case, it's like, what's the duty of care for the FIG? Lawyers, all write in, all of you.
Or don't.
Yeah. Don't. Spencer doesn't read it.
I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. Write in all you want.
It's Fact Checker, who's also our operations COO person. He's customer service. He's also our IT person, because I finally got to stop doing the website stuff and he took over it. He also does all the memberships. When you write to customer service, it's him. He also reads the email and monitors all of our messages and all the DMs everywhere, and the comments, along with Uncle Tim. So anyway, a man of many, many skills and jobs that we have here at GymCastic, doing all the things. So he'll read them and then forward them to the appropriates. And then I forward the things on to Spencer when I'm like, listen.
Rarely, because I'm not going to read it.
That's right. Because we're very with the like I will be like, this is worth reading. And sometimes that means
won't read it.
I take a snippet and screenshot it for him. So anyway.
If it's an assignment given by someone else, I'm not going to do it. It has to be my idea. Club Gym Nerd, you get discounts and first dibs on live show tickets, an extra whole podcast every week, athlete dossiers for major competitions, code guides, options to commission your own segments. It also makes a great gift. Check it out at gymcastic.com at the Join the Club tab.
This brings me to cramps.
Okay.
First, speaking of cramps, I'm talking about, everyone should have an allowance for menstrual cramp days, should be off for everyone. Like freaking Spain, where you get like 2 days off a month for your period. Oh, but anywho, poor flexed foot dismounter, Italy's pagan performer, Carlos Mancini. I feel bad for him because the judges did not believe he was cramping, and he was doing giants with flex feet. He did a dismount with flex feet, you guys, which I don't know how he stood that up. It's basically impossible to land with cramps, but he did it because if we learned anything, the most important lesson learned, Spencer, elite gymnasts are freaks. Mm-hmm. Nothing they do should be humanly possible, but they do it. So Carlo Mancini, I feel like, the lesson is obviously for the coach is advocate for your athlete. You should have been. Can you imagine if this was, imagine another coach in another era who would just throw an absolute fit and be like, the cramps. They need Bart Gerlow there to be like, hey, look, he's cramping. His legs won't straighten. It's an injury timeout. You guys don't start the timer. That's what happened to them. They started the timer after 30 seconds and he had to get up on high bar, go again. And then he's doing his giants with flexed feet, which is hard enough. And then he stuck a dismount. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, hydrating and advocating for your athletes. So this is another thing. We need a buzzer. We need a he's injured buzzer. That's what I'm saying. He's cramping buzzer. She's cramping buzzer. All right. Next lesson learned.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Gymnasts make the best flag bearers.
Tell me why.
Yeah. Obviously, because they have good what's the word? Carriage. Thank you. They have excellent carriage and posture. And they understand the show, which is what the opening ceremonies are. It's a show. They understand the entertainment value. Lindsey Brown, Haiti, flag bearer. Hillary Heron, Panama, flag bearer. Madio Fadi, the crazy vaulter from Iran, flag bearer. Audrey Reyes, Dominican Republic, crazy ass vaulter, also a flag bearer. And then Caitlin Rooskrantz from South Africa. They know what's up. I wonder if any other sport had this many flag bearers in the opening ceremonies. I'm going to say no. No other sport.
Someone will look and someone will tell you. And I think because they do the pairing of the flag bearers, like the male and female flag bearer, it is important that every pairing be a basketball player with a gymnast.
Not a volleyball player?
Or a volleyball player. That's fine too. Extremely important to me. Okay. Like the most, it's not about rewarding you for your accomplishments. It's about height disparity only. That's the whole point.
It's basically about opportunities for comedy for you.
Yes.
Yeah. I understand. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then Simone took the Olympic flag for the US for LA.
For the closing ceremony.
Yeah. Also, I was in LA this past weekend and I was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
They're all the things that they've said they're going to be able to accomplish. I was like, nope. I hope they do. I hope there's no cars allowed in downtown LA ever. Right.
I don't hope that. Can you imagine?
That's what they did in Paris.
They did like a bike day where some streets were shut down and you could only bike on them, and it was a catastrophe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There is no infrastructure to manage this no car Olympics thing. I mean, I hope it's like transforms the whole state and you never need a car in California again, but that's not how the US is built. They dismantled all. It used to be like that. LA used to have like streetcars and it was built to not have a car, but nope. The car industry made sure that went away. So anywho, all right. Next lesson, Spencer. Shushing. It's about shushing.
The shushing. Wrong. You got it wrong, France.
Yeah.
You missed.
The French don't know when to shush and when not to shush. This is the lesson that we learned. The beam is only a stage in your mind. It is only a theater in your mind, the mind of the performer. It's not an actual stage.
That's Jessica's beam camp. The beam, the theater of the mind. That's your lesson. Like Sam Pesek does her beam queen, where she's like, your hands. The hands are the most important part of the beam. Jessica's going to be like, the beam is the theater of your mind.
I mean, this is how it was taught. When I finally got beam, it was taught to me this way, as this is a stage. And
they were like, how are we going to get through to this one? You get to like perform or be the star or something.
And I was like, I get it now. Thank you. That's when I started to love beam. I was like, oh, wait, we're supposed to do it like we do floor? Oh, I'm in. Yeah. So, but I appreciate that, this is the interpretation that we were given by Laura Capelli, who thought maybe this is why the French were shushing, because they saw this as theater. They're used to this as art. And so they were trying to respect it as art by shutting other people up, as you would in a theater. I don't know that that's what was really happening, but this is a plausible scenario to me. So I appreciate.
Why else would they be shushing other than to make people be quiet? But there was no reason to make people be quiet because it's beam and
it's
don't want it to be quiet.
And also in women's sports, you cheer loudly. This is what you do.
That's specific to all women's sports and no men's sports.
Right. Well, apparently no one shushed the men screaming at each other while they were competing. So I can only.
What about women's golf? Do they shush? I assume.
Well, golf is not a sport, as we all know, and all golfers are absolute pusillanimouses. Well, the women actually, I've never really watched women's golf.
I don't watch golf. I don't
know
golf's
horrible. It's a horrible. Unless you're actually playing where it was invented on like a storm-filled, lightning, wind-filled, craggy like moor in Scotland, it's not a sport. These flat surface manufactured lawns, no. Unless there's like coyote and alligator both battling it out to drag you off, no, it's totally not okay. But here's the thing, maybe women in golf are like, yeah, yell, scream, we're fine, because obviously they're going to be tougher and more adept at all things. And so yeah, I might be wrong, and they might love being screamed at and can perform like gymnasts can. So I take that back about women's golf. Don't even get started on the tiger and the shushing. Oh my God, these pusillanimouses. I cannot even with the golfers, you guys. Anywho, we appreciate the French loving beam as an art. We can only speculate they didn't yell at the men because the men are not performing art. They just do flips now, unfortunately. It's not artistic. But anyway, we hope that France has learned this lesson. Now, the most important lesson I think we learned at the Paris Olympic Games, Spencer. Rules are flexible?
Sometimes.
Right. Sometimes. Exhibit A, if you will, sir. Carlos Yulo's coach or federation mistakenly registered him to compete on vault only in qualifying. We at first saw this and we were like, oh, is he hurt? But if you're hurt, you don't do vault. Like vault requires everything. It just didn't make sense. And then it was brought to the FIG's attention the FIG reached out to the federation, was like, hey, did you mean, like, we know he can medal on multiple events and especially floor. Did you mean to only register him as not an all-arounder or only for vault? And they were like, oh my God, we thought that we register for everything. We made a mistake, and they changed it, which is great because that's the benefit of the athlete. And he turned out to be a double gold medalist. Like, this is great. I feel like they did the right thing. But do they extend the changing of the rules for everyone?
Mm-hmm. Not when CAS is involved.
Right. So there needs to be. I mean, I feel like the lesson I learned was the rules are flexible. That's the lesson I learned. Now,
maybe not anymore. Maybe the lesson the FIG learned is the rules cannot be flexible ever again.
But what about in this case? It was an oopsie. They misunderstood the form.
It's good, but what if they're like, no, we have to be hard asses about everything because otherwise CS is going to be like, you were 4 seconds too late. You embarrassed yourself. Denied. So then the FIG is going to learn we have to be, dicks about every possible rule.
I know. I mean, well, so we'll see. Do you have any opportunities for comedy that you would like to discuss from the Olympics?
I mean, we did already talk about Simone getting the salute deduction and then saluting her way off the floor for her entire routine. So we won the comedy.
That was in my mind.
Asher Hong's entire podium training performance was an opportunity for comedy. That was great.
Please describe.
He fell hilariously on most things, like intentionally. Like, what a silly flop. He did a scale on the corner of the podium after he ran out of bounds. He was dancing and wiggling all around. It was great. He knew that the cameras were on, and even though it's men's podium training, which, like, why would you watch this? They're not going to even do routines. And he was like, you got to give them a show.
The men's team, the U.S. men's team understands. They understand attention is the task. Draw attention. So,
yeah.
Do we need to do like a fact check on the men's, especially the
men's gymnastics? No,
I mean, where do we start? But do you think the public thinks that Steven Edorashik is the best men's gymnast of all time? And like,
no, I think it's made very clear that he was like pommel horse specialist guy. And so they know he's just like, that's his thing. That's very much the identity. I think they realize that he has the correct personality. And that has been
that is correct.
A thing.
He does. I just feel like there's been sort of an erasure of Frederick Richard and Paul Judah's role in getting the team that medal.
Sure. But also, it's men's gymnastics. Is there an erasure of Raj Bhavsar? Except every time someone does a Bhavsar on P-bars and then Tim Daggett is like, that was aimed from Raj Bhavsar? Yeah.
Okay. I did say Pagan. Carlo Mancini of the Pagan.
There you go.
Which is P-E-G-A-N, by the way.
But yeah, Steven Edorashik was the one who they focused on.
Yeah, which was brilliant, honestly. And it worked. Like, apparently people are...
2 medals.
Yeah, 2 medals.
2 full Olympic medals.
Which is, the lesson learned is specialists are the best. Just like I said. But we'll get to prophecies fulfilled in a moment.
Yeah.
The other opportunity...
What is, like, Brett McClure's situation with regard to, like, the gymnastics establishment at this point? Is he just writing I told you so on poster board and just, like, mailing it to people?
I think that's, him and Jason, who's, like, the other high performance director. I think he just wears a smirk and a shirt that says that at all time. What'd you say? Oh, look at these medals. Fuck around and find out U.S. women's team name.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. That was it is, press conferences are a little awkward. Unless Simone's there, because Simone just talks the whole time, no matter what's happening, and gives her
I'm ready for Zoe Miller to start college gymnastics.
Oh God, I can't wait for some
opportunities for one of my other internet opportunities for comedy in the aftermath of this was like WCC was tweeting something and someone was like, "Is Zoe Miller writing these?" And she was like, "First of all, I don't care to write all that." And I was like, "This is correct. Correct, Zoe Miller."
When is she starting her comedy series? I'm obsessed with her. Oh, you guys, just wait. Yeah, a Zoe quote machine Miller. It's very important to remember all of the nicknames that I have so carefully selected for athletes
You
over
have
the
a
many,
whiteboard
many
of
years.
them?
No, I don't need one. I remember my own nicknames.
That's what you remember.
That's
why
right.
You create them.
Yeah. Joya Chin, her silver on beam. This is an opportunity for comedy that the world loved when she was like, "Why are these bitches biting the metal?"
If I didn't love her before, which I did because her beam was perfect.
So
Alicia D'Amato and Manila Esposito are, biting their medals as everyone does for the picture, like metal, bite it. And she's like, "Oh, we're putting them in our mouths." I don't want to do that, but okay. I was like, yes, once again, you are the correct one.
Yeah, I love her for that. And I also love a podium that's Italy and China and beam. Yes! Oh, so exciting. Oh, great, great, great moments. Okay, prophecies fulfilled.
Okay.
First of all, if you're a visual listener, you can find this. If you're not a visual listener, you can find this on the on Andrade or the Brazilian Gymnastics Federation's Instagrams or all their socials. Andrade proved she had a triple twisting Yurchenko, like we said she did long ago. And then she proved she did. And she didn't have to do it at the Olympics because she likes her ACLs. She's already had one replaced 3 times.
Maybe I don't think she likes them because they've been kind of a jerk to her over the years, but she has them.
And like what I love about finally seeing her triple twisting Yurchenko, it's like she does a very slow first, like a beautiful first twist. And then she whips those second two around so fast that you're like, was that really a triple? And then you watch it again and you're like, oh my God, she did a double twist in the space, the whole, like faster than the whole beginning of the vault. Oh, it's so good, you guys. Oh. Do we think we'll ever see her actually do it?
Yes.
Spencer.
She said she's done with the all around, maybe? She didn't say she was done with vault.
She said it was probably her last floor, right?
Yeah, I think she's done with floor. She can be a vault specialist.
I'm so excited about this. Because normally you're like, no, Jessica, she's never going to do it. She wouldn't risk it. But now you're on team triple twisting Yurchenko. She's going to do it.
I think she wants to be like, I'm the one who can do this. I can get this named after myself. This is my vault, and no one's ever been able to do it like me.
Yeah, because Simone's had triple twisting Yurchenko too, so she was like,
right, a lot of people could. A lot of people like Maroney. Like, I can do this.
She's like, like Maroney did double backs too, but Yurchenko double backs, but like to do it and land it in competition, that's totally different. Okay. Some prophecies fulfilled before Team Fuck Around and Find Out, which then was retrograde actively named
Golden Girls,
which we don't like. I mean, I love it because they were young women living together, roommates in Florida with active sex lives. But it was Golden Girls was supposed to be about this old ladies, in their retired golden years, but they were only like 50. Do you know how young they were? They weren't like
several playing much older than their ages. Yeah.
Right. I was like, my God. Anyway, it's cute, but we're not having that. The FAFO is the team name. So before them, this is what they gave themselves. It's the oldest American team in Olympic history. This team.
So they're the oldest American team.
No, they're the FAFO, which is the acronym that Simone couldn't get out, that Jordan was trying to whisper to her in the press conference. So she finally just said, around and find out. And then everyone erupted in laughter. So no Olympic team in women's gymnastics history ever had two Olympic all-around champions on it.
Mhm.
before Suni and Simone created the first.
Yes.
Prophecies fulfilled.
I mean, it's not really a prophecy. It's more just like information.
I prophesized that adult grown-ass women are taking over gymnastics,
Okay.
and then we have this. So
Okay.
first of all, don't deny me my prophecies that I made up myself. How dare you? How do prophecies happen? Someone has to, say it. Okay. Procedures must be followed or else prophecy fulfilled or else. So explain what happened in at 2023 Worlds with Leanne Wong and the NOC reserve list to bring people back.
I can barely, but Leanne Wong was originally two per country out of the vault final and was also, she was a reserve for the vault final, also two per country. But so she wasn't listed on the list of reserves because she had been two per country. Ellie Black pulls out of the vault. No, wait, who pulled out of the vault final? Jessica Gadarova pulled out of the vault final, replaced by Ellie Black. That was fine. Joss Robertson pulls out of the vault final. So then Leanne Wong was no longer two per country out of the vault final because Robertson was an American. She pulled out. So now Leanne Wong is eligible, but she wasn't on the reserve list because she was allegedly two per country. Then they put in Chenga Botchkoy. That was the whole thing for Olympic qualification. Now they are listing national reserves who had been two per country, along with the typical reserves on the reserve list for who will make an individual final. So they know what to do now. They're fixing a problem.
So they had this procedures. They messed it up. They fixed it for the Olympics. But what we found out after that was if you don't note the exact time for verbal inquiries, people lose medals.
Yeah.
With the bronze medal debacle. So the prophecy was or else, and or else happened once again. FIG, thanks a lot. I'm trying to keep you up with the prophecies here. Please, if you need to take notes, go ahead. Other prophecies fulfilled. No gymnast ever won non-consecutive Olympic all-around titles until Simone Biles.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest Olympic all-around champion since Gorchkovskaya.
Maria Gorhovskaya. The first one.
Yeah. 1952, where she was 30. She won at 30. And that's been back when you could win 6. Women could win 6 medals just like the men can win 6 medals. Ugh. Well, they can win 8 technically. But anywho, there used to be more events. So no one can ever break that record until they finally get rid of some men's events and add some more stuff like swimming. Every time people say that what's his butt from the swimming won the most medals, I'm like, it's because no one else can even win that many in one Olympics because they're not even available. Oh, don't get me started on what's his butt. It's not his fault. The swimmer with the giant hands. Do I always forget? Michael Phelps. Thank you.
Giant hands.
He does have like giant web hands.
Yeah, all swimmers have huge, weird limbs and shoulders and hands. That's how you be good swim.
Yes. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that the whole point of sports at this level is find the genetic freaks. And here they all are in one place. So, prophecy fulfilled. Specialists are the best. Just like I always said, the Steven Nedorachik story.
Yeah.
Also, Liu Yang and Reese and them too. But specialists are the best. They're the most fun. And NBC embraced this with their countdown clock. And then Nedorachik going to be on Dancing with the Stars, just like we said.
We said that?
Yeah, I believe that was me. I was like, he's definitely going to do Dancing with the Stars. Because when we saw he wasn't on the tour, I was like, oh yeah, he's doing Dancing with the Stars. Before Paris, only 3 American women's artistic gymnasts in history had done 3 Olympics. Grossfeld, Mulvihill, and Dawes. Dominique Dawes. Now add Simone to the list.
Is she going to do 4?
I don't see her coming back for all around. I see her coming back for
She can make a team for one event.
She can make a team for one event.
Specialists are the best. You just said it.
They are the best. And if they could have her, they're going to do it.
Yeah.
But for all around, and she doesn't want to do. She was like, I never have to do that vault again. That's it. Yurchenko double pike. I'm done with it. Retired it.
No other vaults.
She has lots of other
Do
vaults.
that one.
But anyway, I'm just saying. Okay, pantheons.
What if Simone did the Yurchenko triple fall and got it named after herself?
Oh,
What if there was a
God.
race?
I know. Now I'm like, space race, Yurchenko triple.
Simone, and it was like who could register for a world challenge cup the fastest to get it named after themselves.
My God.
And then the US is like, oh, we're not sending anyone to that challenge cup. And Simone's was like, seriously?
I mean, some other people said, seriously, can't I just go to this and get something named after myself this year? And they still weren't allowed because USAG followed their stupid procedures instead of doing fun things like just let whoever wants to go to a World Cup.
Get the full Jaeger named after herself. Yeah.
Simone specifically, to quote her, she said, getting up and not having to think about doing a Yurchenko triple pike is a blessing.
Triple pike.
End quote. Double pike. Sorry. I've already upgraded it. I'm sure she could do a triple pike.
Okay.
But no, she said, quote, double pike. So that's exactly what she said, which I interpreted as she's never doing that again. But you never know. Can you imagine the money that would be thrown? How much money would it take for you to be like, I never want to do this again. I'm over it, blah. And someone to be like, if you already had generational,
you already have Simone money.
You already have Simone money. You already know that like your descendants, unless they're idiots with their money, will never have to work.
Mm-hmm.
How much money would it take? Do you want billionaire money?
I don't think it's a money issue.
Me either. But what if it was?
I don't know. How much could a Yurchenko double pike cost? $10 million?
$1 billion. Simone as a billionaire. My God. We need more women billionaires. But the right kinds, if we're going to do the politically right things.
Are there right kinds of billionaires?
Yes, people that want to...
Spencer said politically.
There should be no billionaires, first of all. But we need billionaires who actually care about making the world better for everyone and not just themselves and their yachts. But I would like Simone to join the billionaires pantheon like others joined pantheons at this Olympic Games, including...
Oh, wow.
Epic transition. I am so good at this. Mm-hmm. The Italian women's gymnastics team, who I said it was their year. I said it was their year. Didn't I say that, Spencer? Do you remember when I said that? I was like, Italy, Italy, Italy. Silver medal, you guys. Silver medal. The team. And they should have had an Olympic champion at the Tokyo Olympics. It should have been Ferrari on floor in Tokyo. But now they have Alice D'Amato on beam. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me very happy. I would have also been happy if she had a floor medal and a bars medal, but at least we have...
Not the medal you call. Not the medal you would have called individually.
But I said the team was going to get a medal.
You would have called Esposito for beam.
I did. And she has a Esposito 2-time Olympic medalist. Yes. Really, this section is just my personal dreams fulfilled. Yeah. Also, small...
I mean, it's just a really good collection of medalists overall.
Yes.
Like a very satisfying group through men's and women's gymnastics. I think just like a really satisfying group of medalists as a whole.
Small country, big golds. See what I did there? Ireland. Now they have a world and Olympic champion Reese, the prodigy.
Is Reese... I need Reese to be Ireland Stephen Edorosek. Like, are they embracing him the way Stephen Edorosek is being embraced in the US?
I think so, but we'll need some Irish listeners to tell us if, is he going to be on, what's it called there? Dancing. They just have like one, they have all the, all of our shows come from there. So whatever they're dancing
From Ireland?
No, from the islands that are connected closely together in that area of the world. Did they have Ireland Dancing with the Stars, Ireland Skating on the Ice?
I mean, I don't know if they have it anymore.
I bet they do. Who did it? Niall Wilson did one of those ice skating dance shows.
But this is not Ireland.
I know, but it's not like they can't have Irish people. Where's all the TV?
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys, do you see him constantly? Is he selling you all the Irish things?
Is he selling you diabetes medication? Because that's what we need.
like diabetes medication needs a salesperson in the U.S. Like, oh my God! Oh, Dancing with the Stars, Irish TV series in your face.
Whose face?
Fact checker just found it. You saying that the things weren't coming from Ireland. They have the Irish Dancing with the Stars. Thank
Do
you.
they have it anymore? Is it still going?
Well, I don't know. I didn't click on the link. I just saw that fact checker put it in there. You can click on the link while I talk about Carlos Yulo. Carlos Yulo, Small Country Big Goals Pantheon, 2-time Olympic gold medalist. And Irish Dancing with the Stars.
Mm-hmm.
Still happening. Reese, are you on this Dancing with the Stars yet? What the hell? What are they doing with their lives if you're not on it? Oh, I would love to watch them on that. No more for Algeria. Algeria is now, I mean, really, this is a French and Algerian gold. That's the way I see it.
Representing Algeria.
It's representing Algeria. It's representing France. The best thing about this for me was hearing the ululating in the arena. That was my first time ever experiencing that in a gymnastics arena. I had never heard that, which was so cool to hear. Spencer, before Paris, there were only 3 American women who had, in the history of American women competing in the Olympics, who had made an all-around final. Multiple. There was
Kim Chase, Shannon Miller, Allie Raceman. And now Simone and Suni have both competed in their second all-around final. Simone had qualified for the all-around final in Tokyo, but pulled out. So that she had only been in 1 all-around final before. Now 2. Suni also 2.
Pantheon joined. Rifta from Indonesia, who was injured at the 2023 Worlds on bars, she joined Danusha Francis in the only doing bars at the Olympics with no ACL club. So welcome to the club. I feel like they should get a jacket or a cape or something like that. I hope she is rehabbed in time to do something at Worlds coming up this year because it's her home Worlds. It's in Jakarta, 2025.
Yeah. Just time. You got time.
Yeah. Before Simone in Paris, there were only 3 all-around champions who competed in 3 Olympics. Those were
for a long time.
Yeah.
Because we had Latina Cheslavska, Ludmila Teresheva.
And now there are
And then it was like, win an Olympic all-around champion and then go away.
Yep. And now Simone has competed in 3. So she is in that very, very small pantheon of women who have done it. Now there's 4. Before Paris, there were only 6 Olympic champions who made it back to at least 1 second games. And now Suni Lee joins that list.
Joins the list.
Except, Olympic champions. Well, unless we can't, but see, this is then I was like, oh, what
We're
about
talking about all-around Olympic champions.
All around, because if we did events,
well, then you've got a whole bunch of people.
Then it's a whole different list. So anyway, I want to know if we were right about our medal predictions, Spencer.
Did we make medal predictions?
We said what we thought a successful Olympics would be, or successful in terms of medals, not in terms of their own personal self-esteem.
Right, of course.
So medal predictions. Of course, I carefully selected the ones we were right about. So we predicted 8-ish out of 11 for the U.S. women.
Yeah.
And they got 7. Well, pre-cast case, it was 8.
If Jordan Trials had a floor bronze, it would have been 8.
But it might go back to 8. We don't know. But 7, 8-ish. We were right.
I think the only surprise there for the U.S. women was maybe not getting a beam medal, although beam is beam, and that wasn't a given. But otherwise, you were like, it was like, team, 2 all around, 2 vault, Suni with a bars medal, floor things. They kind of did the high expectations that we had for the U.S. women's team. They went to Paris and fulfilled.
Who won the most medals? People.
The person who won the most medals or the team?
Which people won the most medals?
I don't know what that means.
What?
Like Simone got 4. Andrade got 4. Is that what you're looking for?
You can add boys.
Oh, I don't care about boys. I'm not counting the boys. How many did Oka get? 3? 4? Oka got 4.
Andrade, Oka.
P bars and high bar, and then won the all around and the team medal.
4 each. Andrade, Oka, and Biles. I like that it's 3 different countries who won the most. Okay, Brazil. We predicted a team medal and at least 3 for Andrade.
She got 4. 3
She got
individual,
4.
but 4 total. Yeah.
4 total. So she exceeded, as she always does. She's the best. Okay, which individuals won the second most medals? So the
already
top
have.
one,
We
4.
did. We already did the top 3.
Yeah,
Andrade,
who won?
Oka, and Biles.
Who won the second most? They won 4.
No, they are one. You would say who now? The next person in line would be the 4th. Would be 4th place.
Oh my God!
You already have
You
a
are
3-way
just
tie for
like
first.
the FIG with
So the
this
next person is the
nonsense.
We are not.
Who is
medalist.
the silver medalist of winning the second most total medals?
You don't award a silver medal because you have a 3-way tie for gold.
Obviously, you always award because people can be equally as excellent as each other. Oh, don't even get me
started. Who won 3 medals? Zhang Boheng won 3 medals. Zhou Jingyan won 3 medals. Anyone else?
And Suni.
Oh, Suni.
Suni Lee.
Look at you, Suni, with your 3 more medals.
Go, Suni.
Bars all around team. Yeah.
And I feel like no lessons learned about the Paris Olympic Games would be complete without the Simone Biles story. Absolute domination. And for this, I'm going to point to the excellent story once again by Emily Giambalvo at the Washington Post, who has someone, I know there's some people here who are like in journalism associations and graphic design people and that you folks, will someone submit her if in case Jeff Bezos hasn't done it and he's busy spending his millions of dollars? Can you please submit her for an award and the graphic design team, the team that has put together these excellent data nerd, sexy data gymnastics numbers, what we've always been waiting for, articles that she's done for the Washington Post. They are so good. So some of the amazing things like that just illustrate how great Simone is when we think about her is that in the last 11 years of elite competition, she's only been behind 4 times and only really been beaten in all around once. Do you remember when that was?
Wait, in what span of time are we saying?
The last 11 years of elite competition.
Okay. So are we counting, does this include like Ohashi at American Cup?
Oh, that's a good point. Wait, was that 11 years ago? Was she a junior there?
Well, you have that day that Suni at trials, 2021 trials, when Suni outscored Simone, but it wasn't the whole competition ranking.
Yeah. So the last time it happened would have been Suni beating her on one day of a 2-day
of trials
competition.
Yeah.
And then before that, that's right, Ohashi, which was basically Ohashi's last beam competition because her back was so jacked up. And that was it. Defeated Simone. Who needs to compete again in elite when you defeated Simone? Like, that's it. Yeah. Also, who do you think about is Simone's like biggest competition? Like, who's the person that's challenged her?
Right now? Because that's Andrade.
Like, of all time.
Oh. Well, it's interesting. I think Andrade is the most impressively contending with Simone, but there were times when Yordake was right there, B podium, the famous B podium. There were times when Kyla Ross was right there, sort of early in Simone's senior elite career. So there are other people who've been able to score with her at various times. I think being able to score with Simone right now at this point in her career is in some ways a more impressive accomplishment than being able to score with her in 2013 and 2014.
Yeah. I can see that. Andrade earned a 57.932 in the Olympic all-around final. Simone had dipped below that mark only once during the entire quad.
But she did once. So that's a something.
Yeah. Yep. I can see why Andrade's like, Andrade said, I want to keep competing with her. I don't want this to be her last Olympics, which Simone has not said. She said she's leaving the door open, even though everyone that she works out with was like, she's like, I'm over this. Like, get me out of here. But you never know. You never know. Competitors like competition. They really.
And you also never know what 2 years of time does to you. You're a different person 2 years later. You think different things. That's why I always think retiring is kind of just like not worth it as a concept for athletes, especially gymnasts. It's like be Chuso. See how you feel.
Yeah. Chuso and Gabby both said they're going for LA 2028. Chuso just posted videos of herself doing her Protonova vault again, the handspring double front.
Please don't, though. Please don't.
At camp, I was like, oh no, we need to figure out a strategy for Chuso. We need to come up with a strategy for her to make it to the next Olympics. Yeah, because no one would break that record. I mean, no one's going to break her record. Well, people will probably break her record, I think, in the future. Like Ellie Black might break Chuso's record of 7 Olympic Games or whatever. But I feel like I don't know if her vaulting is going to hold up. We need a new vault strategy for her.
I think, Chuso doesn't need anything new. But yeah, when she's because I feel like there are form issues, but when she's able to do her vault difficulty, she still has enough there.
Yeah. We'll see.
Without the Protonova, we'll see. If she can land it and not die, I mean, fine. But just scares me.
I know Protonovas are scary, but if there's someone that I trust to decide if it's worth it or not, I trust
she can do whatever she wants at this point.
Chuso to make that decision. Yeah.
You're not trying to protect the youths with Chuso.
You don't know how dangerous it is. No, she does. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We will see you on Friday for our behind the scenes, which is our weekly Q&A show, which is so fun. We just get together. You can join us live and ask questions. We talk about anything. We have basically done, the last 2 have been basically Q&As about the entire bronze medal debacle, like answering every single question from every angle. So this week, I have more stories from France, of course, to tell, as I always do, because I haven't told you about my one cultural gaffe yet. There was one. There was one.
Wow.
Yeah, but otherwise, obviously, everyone loved me and I was a perfect angel. So we're doing that noon Pacific on Friday, and it's very fun. You guys should join us. And if you can't join us live, it's no problem. You can listen on your favorite podcast player afterwards. Instructions are in the show notes. Are always on the forum. And if you want to leave us feedback for that, gymcastic@gmail.com, or you can always post it in the forum, put behind the scenes in the subject line. And thanks for joining us. Remember, we have lots more content, exclusive stuff coming up for our Club Gym Nerd members. I'm so excited to tell you guys next about what this tour is like, what I learned when I go watch the practices, because now the tour has men again. What's that going to be? What are they going to do with the men? Spencer.
What do you ever do? Got to find something for them to do.
I am excited for Casimir to be there, though. From the Netherlands. So we'll see what he brings to it. It's going to be fun. So we'll see you guys Friday at noon Pacific for behind the scenes. And until then, remember to take off on gay, split on rights. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Friday.